Hi, everyone. I think we'll wait a few minutes and then get started then.
Thank you.
I think we can probably get started for this tonight. Thank you for the people in attendance tonight. My name is Tim Jeffries, Deputy Commissioner in the Department of in the Department of Planning and Development. We're here tonight to discuss the proposed 12-year extension of the Homan Arthington TIF district. We'll go through some of the details of that project in one second, but the overall point is just to give you an idea of what's happening and where this TIF district is going in the next 12 years and how it can be used in the future. Throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and use the Q&A feature down on the bottom screen there. We'll answer questions as you have them throughout the presentation, and then at the end, if people still have questions, we'll stick around and answer them until everyone's got their questions addressed. So I think with that, I'll kick it over to Emily, and she's going to walk us through our presentation for the evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emily Kish, and I'm a project manager with the City of Chicago Department of Planning and Development. I'm here today with my colleagues Tim Jeffries and Ryan Slattery, as well as our consultants Bill James and Katie Riley from Cumuros. Our presentation this evening will first address the purpose for this amendment and why we're here. Next, we'll discuss what a TIF is, how it works, and how it's used. Then we'll walk through the Homan Arthington TIF amendment, which will include the goals and objectives, the boundary, allocated and future projects within the district, the proposed land use plan, and the updated budget. Finally, we'll review the next steps in this process and open the floor to questions. As Tim mentioned, if you have questions during the presentation, please click the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen and type your questions there. We will answer as many written questions as we can during the presentation. So the purpose for this amendment, we're here this evening to discuss the proposed extension of the existing Homan Arthington TIF district for an additional 12 years to ensure an ongoing financial resource for future redevelopment in the area. As part of this extension process, we will amend the termination date, revise the budget, update the land use plan, and make minor changes to the plan language prior to receiving council approval. The Homan Arthington TIF district is generally bounded by Polk Street to the north, Independence Boulevard to the west, Fillmore Street to the south, and Kedzie Avenue to the east. The Homan Arthington district was designated on February 5th, 1998, and absent this extension, would be set to expire on December 31st of this year. In May 2021, the city received state authority to extend the life of the Homan Arthington TIF district for an additional 12 years to allow for the continued redevelopment of the Homan Arthington project area. TIF, or tax increment financing, is a funding tool that helps generate financial resources to support public and private development projects within a specific geography. The City of Chicago has had TIF since 1984 when the state of Illinois passed the TIF Act. The TIF Act allows individual municipalities in Illinois to designate TIF districts. The initial legislation has been amended many times, but it still provides for the legal framework for the city to use TIF and allows the city to establish TIF districts in areas of the city that meet specific eligibility requirements. These areas need to demonstrate what the TIF Act calls blighting factors, which are defined in section 11-74.4-3A1 of the Act. Per the TIF Act, the city is required to designate a specific area as a TIF district. When an area is designated a TIF district, the property taxes of all properties in the district are frozen to establish the base property tax. Any increase in property taxes after the designation is called incremental property tax or increment. These increment funds are set aside for the TIF district for the life of the TIF instead of being dispersed to the taxing bodies. When the TIF expires, property tax disbursement resumes as normal to the taxing bodies. For example, this year, your property taxes are $100. Later this year, your property is designated in a TIF district, at which point, for the purposes of the TIF, the property taxes are frozen. Next year, your property taxes are $105. $100 of that bill, or the base property tax, which was the amount of your property taxes when they were frozen for the TIF, will go to the same place they always do, the city, schools, and park district. The remaining $5, or incremental property tax, will be allocated to the TIF district to be used for eligible projects. To be clear, the inclusion of a property within a TIF district does not increase property taxes. TIF districts do not directly change either the value of a property or the tax rate. Any given property has the same tax bill, whether it is inside or outside of a TIF district. A common understanding of TIF is that it is predominantly used to finance private development projects. However, you might be surprised to find out that's actually not the case. In fact, over 80% of all TIF funds over the past decade plus have been spent on fully public uses, including street improvements, CTA facilities, schools, and parks. The remaining 20% of funds are used to leverage private development, including commercial, industrial, and affordable housing projects. The goals for Homan Arthington remain the same and include reducing or eliminating conditions that qualify the area as a blighted or conservation area, creating additional mixed income housing, redeveloping the former Sears building with a mix of commercial uses, funding public infrastructure improvements, land assembly and preparation, and funding open space and recreational amenities related to the future Altenheim Line Rail Trail. In order to advance these goals, the city has approved TIF funding for the following projects in the district. The Ulrich Children's Advantage Network, or UCAN campus at 3600 West Fillmore Street was a $39 million project that was allocated $2.5 million in TIF assistance. The 7-acre campus provides recreational and open space, a youth home with 70 beds, and an office building that offers support and outreach services. Homan Square Phase 6, located at 3601 West Arthington Street, was a roughly $14 million continuation of the Homan Square residential development on the former Sears Roebuck headquarters site. This project was allocated $3 million in TIF assistance. Lastly, TIF funds have been allocated for various street infrastructure improvements, including $255,000 for resurfacing and approximately $1 million for street lighting. We anticipate that future TIF-funded projects in the area will include further redevelopment of the former Sears campus, including the Allstate Insurance Building, additional mixed-income housing, and public improvements, including open space opportunities. Also, as part of this amendment, DPD is updating the general land use plan for the TIF district, which reflects current zoning. The Homan Arthington TIF district largely comprises institutional and public uses, including the community center and UCAN housing development and residential development with a few pockets of mixed use development. The linear open space designation just north of Fillmore Street is the future Altenheim Line Rail Trail. Finally, the amended budget reflects the additional increment that will result from adding 12 years to the TIF district. Please know that the line item dollar figures for each category are for planning purposes. The only amount that can't change without City Council approval is the total redevelopment project cost line item. Following this public meeting will be our Community Development Commission, or CDC, introduction in July, and our presentation to the Joint Review Board in August. The next opportunities for public comment will be the CDC public hearing in September and at Finance Committee in November. We will introduce the TIF amendment to City Council in October and plan to receive Council's approval following Finance Committee in November. With that, I want to thank you all for your time, and we'll take any questions regarding this process.
So again, if you guys have any questions, you can use the Q&A tab. We'll go ahead and read those off and answer them accordingly.
We'll give everyone just, I guess, one more minute and see if anybody has any questions, and if not, I think we can conclude this evening's meeting. So just we'll pause for another minute or two, see if people have any questions. All right. Well, seeing as there's no questions, I think that we can conclude this meeting for the evening. If anyone listening now or watching on the recap of this video on YouTube has any questions, you can always email our department at fid_intake@cityofchicago.org, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. All right, thank you everybody, and have a great evening.